Hello and welcome to Hot Money Technicals on BloombergQuint Live, India's first digital live streaming business news service. This is a show which gives you a complete wrap of all the stocks that are buzzing in trade. I'm Darshan Mehta. Let's welcome our experts then. Aditya Agarwala of Securities, along with Brijesh Bhatia of Dealmoney Securities and Kkunal Parar of Choice Broking join me on the show. Many thanks to my guests for joining me. Before we begin with the show with our analysts, let's bring in Yash Upadhyay, who has a chart on Voltas. Good afternoon, Yash. What does the chart indicate?
So there's a positive call coming in on Voltas, and the stock has managed to come out from a multi-year range. So the red dotted line over here, that marks the high for the stock over this period, and as you could see, it has convincingly taken out that top and has been moving consistently on the higher side, be it on the longer term time frame, which is the weekly chart that we are referring to, as well as on the daily time frame as well. The stock has been consistently moving up. In fact, it is gaining for the last 4 to 5 trading sessions as well. The ADX or the DMI indicator, which is in the lower panel, that too has given a positive crossover with the plus DMI line continuously moving upwards. The ADX line too has moved up considerably. So if you take a look at the ADX line, which is the white line, it typically indicates the underlying strength of the trend, and it has moved from the lows of 10 or below 15 to now touching about 20. So typically a reading about 20 is an indicator that there is a strength in the trend, and the stock moving above its breakout range is another indicator that from here on we could see fresh moves on the upside for Voltas.
Okay, that's the view that's coming in on Voltas, positive view that's coming in, but let's ask our guests whether they concur with that view or no. But Aditya, I'll start with you. Is that something that you agree? Is Voltas a stock that looks positive to you?
Yes, definitely looks positive on charts, and what Yash pointed out, exactly that, it has broken out of an ascending triangle pattern. Volumes are extremely healthy in trade today. The pullback that we're witnessing, stock is up 2%, volumes are good. There's a minor hiccup at around 700. If 700 is taken out on a weekly basis, my sense is stock will test levels of 740 in the coming trading weeks. So I will buy at current levels, add on to the position above 700.
Okay, positive view that's coming in. Brijesh, what's your sense on Voltas?
Yeah, I agree with yes. If you look at the short-term charts, it's breaking out of its 5 days high, and plus if I just look at the hourly chart, it's moving off its bullish inverted head and shoulder, which is the running head and shoulder. So I think 664 will be the stop loss for me, and I'm looking for around 750, 760 on the upside.
Okay, and Kkunal, what's your sense?
Definitely, I'll go with yes. The way stock has been trading right now, stock just entered into an uncharted territory, and if you are looking at on-balance volume, even on-balance volume is gradually increasing, so it indicates a positive flow is there in the counter. I'm expecting somewhere around 705 first target is, and if 705 cross, then 735 would be there. So my call is like if any plunge in the call up to the level of 680 would become a good buying opportunity with the SL of 650 for a target of 735.
Okay, that's the view that's coming in on the first stock, and that is Voltas. Let's start with the first round of charts, and that's with Aditya. He has a chart on Cummins India. Cummins India, let's pull up the chart and see how it has performed of late. It's a buy call that's coming in by Aditya. Aditya, what makes you bullish on the counter?
So I'll go back in history slightly, somewhere around 2013. From 2013, stock was in an upward trajectory, made high of somewhere around 1200, and from there, stock has been falling gradually, and it has been forming a downward sloping wedge. As you can clearly see, the highs are lower, the lows are lower. But what is contrasting out here to see is every time it comes to this lower end of the support of the wedge, we see a sharp recovery in the stock. It happened in 2015 on one occasion. 2016, we again witnessed a pullback rally. Again, 2018, the moment it tests the lower end of the wedge, it goes to the upper end of the wedge. Now, if we come back to the current scenario, again, stock is at the lower end of the wedge. So my sense is, going back to history, on 3-4 occasions, stock did bounce back from the lower end of the wedge. Again, we are at the lower end of the wedge. The risk to reward is in extreme favor of going long. So for that, one of the major factors why I would recommend a buy on Cummins, and considering the fact the way capital goods index and the capital goods stocks have been moving up, my sense is this is due for a short covering rally as well. Now, if I club RSI with it, this is on the weekly time frame. If we can just highlight the RSI, I go back in history again. Every time that the stock has tested the lower end of the wedge pattern, RSI takes support at this level of sub 35, which has happened on multiple occasions. As we can clearly see, this green line is the one which is the support area. Every time RSI comes to these levels, there's a recovery in the stock, and out here also RSI has formed a double bottom. It's more of a positive divergence with price. When price made a lower low, RSI made a higher low. That tells me that the bears are losing strength in the stock. There could be a good short covering rally in the stock at current levels of 590. one can look to buy at current levels for targets of 630, 660. Stop loss can be maintained at 560. If I have a monthly chart on this, if I plot a monthly chart on the monthly time frame, stock has made, so this is the monthly chart. What is contrasting to see is again price is consolidating at around 570, 560 zone, and along with that RSI has made a positive divergence. So on the monthly chart, RSI making a positive divergence is an extremely healthy sign, which tells me that the trend should reverse any moment soon, and we can see higher levels.
My only thing is that it's coming at the lower end. Is the risk reward in favor now of going long, or do you think that it could be a breakdown and there could be a sell-off?
So the risk to reward is definitely in favor of going long. As a trader, I would want a good risk to reward stock. So for that reason, that is the main key reason why I would go long. If this low is taken out, I'm out of the trade. The risk is
so 570 is your stop loss.
560 is my stop loss. 560 to 550 is the maximum stop loss that I'll keep. Below 550, I'm out of the trade. At 590 levels, I'm looking for a target of 660, 630, and in northward. So it can also test the upper end of the wedge, which is around 750 also. So the good risk to reward is what I'm considering while going long.
Okay, Aditya, thanks so much for that. Brijesh, what's your sense on the counter comments?
Yeah, I agree with him. The only risk for me, because if you look at the structure, weekly structure, he has clearly explained stock is moving up from oversold territory to now to upward journey. Even bullish harmonic is visible on the charts, but the key is the stop loss would be around 530 for me, and I think I'm looking for around 710, 720 on the upside.
Okay, so that's the positive view that's coming in. Kunal, what's your sense on the counter?
Doesn't even I'm looking I have a buy call on the same, because right now stock is trading support of its lower band of the rise falling wedge formation, and on a weekly chart stock has formed a bullish harami candlesticks formation, and RSI is indicating a positive divergence. So my call is like any plunge in the count up to the level of 580 would become a good buying opportunity with the SL of 534, and I am seeing somewhere around 635 and more about 660 would be there.
Okay, so consensus bullish call that's coming in the first stock, that is Cummins. Cummins obviously has corrected from levels of over close to 800 to 1000, given the fact that there was a big weakness. They've cut the export guidance, they've cut the domestic guidance. It'll be interesting to see what they do as far as this quarter is concerned. So it's consolidating now at these levels. So that's Cummins for you. The second stock that we want to talk about is a stock Godfrey Phillips, and that is something that Brijesh wants to speak about. Let's pull up the chart. In between those is big rally that came in. Are you still betting on a big rally again coming in?
Yeah, obviously, Darshan. Let's start with this first. Okay, if you look at just this fall, let's started this with from around April, May, and stock was continuously falling from sub around 1200 levels to 600 levels. So stock was nearly 50% down. If I just look at this rally, this was majorly the September rally which took place. And if I look at the monthly momentum, August, July and June, the whole 3 months were captured once in a September month, where stock were rallied from around 930 to back to around 1100 levels. Whole October, the stock, since now it has been consolidating quite strongly. If we look at the high from around 1100 to 900 levels, stock taking support at 200 days average. Yeah. Okay. Now, if you look at this formation, the stock has broken off its triangle, or if I just look at this rally plus triangle, it forms the bullish pennant formation. Okay. After generally the bullish pennant, when the bullish pennant is formed, stock resumes its upward journey on the higher side. And if I just look at the MACD on the downside, okay, histogram. Yeah.
Histogram is turned positive.
So histogram has turned into the positive territory now. Prices, even after the falling from around 1200 to 600 and again resuming its upward journey, it is giving a positive crossover above the integer line, which is again a very strong sign of bullish momentum. So price breaking out of its bullish pennant plus MACD giving a positive crossover, it clearly indicates that the trend is now again resuming its upward journey towards 1250 levels on the upside.
Okay, and do you see the level at which this movement came in? Do you see that, or will it be a slow mover now?
So possibly if I just look at this 50% of this move, which was around sub 700 to 1100, 400 points move, I'm taking 50% rally from the breakout levels, so around 1230 to 1250 on the upside with the 400 points move.
Okay, it's at almost 1070. Should it be the right time, or would you expect some bit of consolidation or drawback to come in? That is when you will buy.
I would suggest to buy in two parts. One can buy at current level, one can buy at 1050 on a dips, keeping a stop loss of below slightly 1000 and look for 1250 on the upside.
1250. Okay, thank you so much for that, Brijesh. And the big move that came in was on account of some bit of international news in terms of what's happening with the parent. Again, a breakout is seen. Aditya, do you see a breakout happening?
Yes, so I was also about to recommend Godfrey Phillip for that for trade today.
Yeah.
Since Brijesh has already recommended, he's already highlighted all the points that are bullish for the stock, I would give a thumbs up and I would go ahead and buy at current levels or on decline to 1000. I would be a buyer. I see renewed momentum getting into the stock and can easily test higher levels of 10 to 15% from current levels.
Okay, Kkunal, what's your sense?
Definitely, Darshan, even I'll have a buy view on the counter. Right now, the way stock is trading and the way on balance volume is gradually picking up and the way RSI is trending, my view is like stock might touch its upper level of 1133 and more above it 1188. So from my side, it's a buy call.
So it's a consensus bullish call that's coming in on the counter on Godfrey Phillip. So the triple thumbs up that's coming in on the second chart also. The next chart we want to speak about is Maruti Suzuki, and that is where Kkunal steps in. It's been all tricky for Maruti this time around. It's been all over the place and very tough to trade this counter. But what strategy would you recommend here?
Yes, and you can see over here, this side the stock has given a breakout of its downward falling channel formation, and since last 2 days stock has been trading above it. And why I'm giving more emphasis on this channel, because over here you can see stock faces strong resistance of the same, but it couldn't manage on upper side, and after that it went to a consolidation. And right now stock has managed to close above it and it's trading above it with a good volume activity. And you can see this blue line, that this blue line is the 200 days moving average. In September 2018, stock gave a breakout of its 200 days moving average, and afterwards it fell more than 50%. So right now, after September 2018, this is the first time that the stock is started to trade above its 200 days moving average. So it's a big structure on a daily chart. Plus, there's on a monthly chart stock form tweezer bottom formation, which is a reversal plus harami, bullish harami is there, and stock as well taken a support of its 61.80%. So all these parameters indicates a good upside movement in the counters.
Okay, so what's the strategy? It's at 70-100 right now exactly. Should you buy now? Should you wait for a decline to come in? What's the ideal strategy?
One can get into the stock at CMP, and if it fall up to the level of 7,000, even it would become a good buying opportunity. While my target is 7800, which is 10% from the CMP, and if it breaks, then 8350 would be there.
Okay, and you believe that could come in quick time?
No, Darshan, this is like long-term call, and one can say it's Diwali peak, so I'm expecting 8 to 9 months of time.
Okay,
Diwali pick. Thank you so much for that. Aditya, your sense on Maruti?
If my target is 7350 to about 7500, I'll take a long at 7200, not beyond that, because on the monthly chart stock has made multiple attempts to cross 7500, but it has failed to do so. So it faces multiple resistance at that level of 7350 to about 7500. If it closes above that, then definitely target will go to levels of 8200. If it fails to go above that, then my sense is that again it will come back to levels of 66, 6500. So if I have a short target of 7350, 7500, yes, I'll buy.
Okay, what's your sense?
I think I would slightly wait, because if you look at the stock momentum, I'm no doubt that stock has reversed on a bullish trend. I agree with that, but I think it will take time, possibly another 3 to 6 months before a rallying, because if you look at the similar structure in 2011 and 2013, stock has taken major time around 200 weekly average and then moved on the positive side. So I think I will wait for another 3 months. Stock might range considered between 73.50, 74 on the upside and back to around 66 on the downside.
Okay, so that's the view that's coming in. So it's not a consensus call that's coming in on Maruti at this point of time. Let's start with the second round of charts. Aditya has a chart on Info Edge this time around. No doubt the counter has done well. Aditya, if we can have you, let's have the chart. It's managed to consolidate, but on what level, what's the rationale of buying this counter?
So this is the monthly chart, and if you take a look at, I'll again go back to history slightly. Post a sharp rally, stock tends to go into a consolidation, and once it breaks out, a fresh rally starts. It has happened somewhere around in 2018. It has happened somewhere around 2017. Now again in 2019, after a rally, stock went into a sideways consolidation consolidation, and on the monthly chart it's given a strong breakout, and following that breakout stock went into a sideways consolidation, and this month already stock has started its upward trajectory. And if I take a look at the RSI again on the monthly chart has taken support at around 45 to about 46 level, and from there it has reversed sharply. So this tells me that there is enormous strength in the stock without a doubt. When RSI on the monthly chart fails to test even 40 levels, and from there it reverses, there is enormous strength in the chart. If I flip on the daily time frame, the chart has broken out from a so this is the daily time frame. It's on the verge of a breakout from this pennant pattern. We saw a sharp rally from 2000 levels to about 24, and from there stock has entered into a pennant consolidation. My sense is it will break out very soon from the chart. The moment it breaks out from this pennant pattern, we'll see again a sharp rally like this we had seen to levels of 2500 to about 2550 in no matter of time. So I would preempt and buy at current levels, because I might not able to catch once it breaks out. So if it breaks out, definitely I'll add on to it. Above 2400, I'll add on to the position for my targets of 2550 and ride that trend. I'll put a small stop loss at these lows somewhere around 2200.
Would you, because if you're considering a breakout, for someone who wants to play the momentum, would you recommend putting a buying stop loss on this
Yes,
counter?
one can do that. If somebody is planning to play a breakout trade, momentum trade, one should place a buying stop above this high, which is around 2390 to about 2400. You can go in for a long trade above that. The moment it breaks out, you are in the trade, and wait for targets of 2550. That is the minimum target I'm expecting.
And that could come in quick time for the counter.
That will come in quick time, because we see the rally. The rally tends to be very sharp, and it follows up. There's a follow through rally every time there's a breakout in the stock.
And has this rally been accompanied by volumes, and have you seen volumes come back again on the
definitely.
counter?
So this rally was accompanied by extremely healthy volumes. This consolidation, there is shallow volume, as is the case with all the consolidations. So I expect volumes to resume the moment it breaks out of this consolidation.
Okay, thank you so much for that, Aditya. Brijesh, what's your sense on the counter?
Yeah, I agree with him. As considering the charts, the monthly charts he is showing, if I just look at the September and August lows, they are very much similar, around 1831, 35 levels. So it clearly forms the bullish tweezer bottom candles on the stick. If I look at the October series, the highs are highs are broken, which clearly confirms me that the reversal has been continuation. Now the bullish trend is continuing. I think on the monthly charts, it's very strong bullish trend. We are expecting around 2800 on the upside on this stock.
Okay, and Kkunal, what's your sense on the counter?
Definitely on a weekly chart, recently the stock has taken a support of 50 weeks moving average, and in past we talk about whenever stock took the support of the same, afterwards we have seen a good upside movement. So I think that the same replicate movement will be there in coming trading days. So from my side, it's a buy call.
Okay, that's the view that's coming in on the counter. The next stock that Brijesh wants to speak about is his chart on Indraprastha Gas. Let's pull up the counter and let's see what it is. What sense are you getting from the counter, Brijesh?
So I will first start with this rising channel on the yellow lines. If you look at these yellow lines, prices have been continuingly forming the bullish rising channel. Okay, every time it tests the upper band of the channel, price tends to come to test the 200 average. Okay. Similarly here, even if you look at the year, prices test around it back to around. If I just look at the RSI on the downside now. Okay. So if I just if you look at the RSI with prices, when prices have, even RSI is hitting above 70 marks, it tends to come back to around 40 marks. Similarly, if you look at the year, and if I look here, prices made higher around 70, but if you look at the momentum over here, it's lacking on the bullish side. And again, I am expecting, if you look at the RSI from here back to around 40, it consolidated around 58, 59 mark, making the higher rise, but it again failing, and it's moving on the downside. Now, if you look at the price action around with the RSI, so now if you look at the price action RSI, at prices at upper band, RSI at above 70, it gets a dip. Again, if you look at the prices are trading above nearly to the rising channel formations, and RSI again above 70. Now, if you just look at this bearish harmonic pattern, this is the bearish crab pattern. Okay, generally the harmonic patterns are the reversal in nature, and they are basically calculated on the Fibonacci numbers. So, if I just look at this Fibonacci number, it's around 161% of that move.
Okay.
Okay, and if you look at this momentum over here, it is lacking and is showing the sign of exhaustion even after this recent move from around 340 to 370, 75. Now, it's showing showing a sign of exhaustion, plus RSI is moving about the 79, which is the overbought territory. So I think a good shot, possibly it might test the higher band of the around 385, which is the yellow line, and one can take a short positions at 379, add at around 385, keep a stop loss above 400, and I think back to around 314, 315 is the 200 days average. I think it might again test the lower.
But do you think that it will be fast or it will be slow, gradual?
I think it will be very fast and furious move.
Okay,
possibly this expiry it might correct around 15-20%.
Okay, that's the view that you have on IGL, and this will be very interesting because I believe the next chart is also on IGL, and it's a buy call that Kkunal has, if I'm not wrong. So it'll be interesting for you, Aditya, to decide what. But yeah, Kkunal, you explain what your rationale is for a buy call on
Actually,
the counter.
this is just a very basic formation. It's a cup and handle formation, and it's a continuation formation. And on a weekly chart, we are seeing this breakout of this neckline of the same, and right now stock is trading above it. So based on this formation, it indicates that the continued movement would be there in counter, as well as we talk about the Sun MACD. Then positive.
Yeah, pull up.
Positive MACD is there, plus positive histogram is there. So overall, right now MACD is trending above its zero line, so it indicates that the strength is there. And based on this positive MACD and histogram, it indicates that the stock might accelerate its upside movement. And as well as if we talk about RSI front, then still there is a space on weekly RSI from the present level. I am seeing that the RSI March its upside movement up to the level of 83 right now, which is trading at 71. So even RSI indicate a bullish view on the counter. So based on this cup and handle formation, MACD and stock RSI, my view is like to go long on the counter.
What's the stop loss? What's the target?
Right now it is trading at 380. If it plunges up to the level of 360, it would become a good buying opportunity. My SL is quite risky. It's a 340, and my target is 410 on upper side. And if it breaks, then 445 would be there.
Okay, that's the view that's coming in. Thanks so much for that, Kkunal. So Aditya, both of them gave their arguments. Both were equally convincing. One used the MACD, one used the chart patterns. What's your sense? It's 1-1. What should one do?
So both have their own views. As a trader, what I look for in a trade is risk to reward in a counter. And if I take a look at IGL at current levels, post the sharp rally that the stock has posted, my risk to reward is not in favor of going long at current levels.
Okay.
There can be a correction. Yes, I do expect a correction in IGL. The upside that I'm looking at might be capped at 390 to about 400. 400 is an extreme upside that is possible. 390 is the initial the resistance that I'm looking at. And given the current levels of 380, it's just 10 rupee upside, and if the correction kicks in, stock can slide all the way down to 330, 320, which is a significant one from current levels, beyond 10%. So for those reasons, I will avoid taking fresh long at current levels. Yes, if the stock comes down to levels of 330, 340, I might consider taking a long. On the flip side, if I plot a MGL chart, MGL is definitely looking promising as compared to IGL. It has a lot of catching up to do. So my sense is I'll get out of IGL. Probably I'll look to get into MGL if the space is buzzing. My sense is MGL will move up faster than IGL from current levels.
Okay, that's the view that's coming in. So it's an anti-consensus call that's coming in on IGL. So we need to wait and watch whatever parameter you select. Ask your financial advisor how to go about if you want to trade IGL. But Yash is back with his second chart. It's on Heidelberg Cement this time around. Yash, what are you indicating?
So we are cheating here a little bit, Darshan. So Heidelberg Cement we used as a stock in the morning as well in the Bloomberg Edge, and there was the stochastics indicator which we were using, and that gave a buy signal. So the stochastics indicator gave a positive crossover following yesterday's move. As you could see, the crossover took place below the mark of 20, so that is generally referred to as an early crossover. So coming back to the price chart, what was most important is the fact that while the stochastics did give a positive crossover, the yellow line over here, which is the strong support for the stock, is somewhere around the mark of 180, is where it has come down to for a third time, and every time it has done so, it has bounced up significantly. The pink line, that is also the 200-day exponential moving average, that too has not been taken out, and we saw a big move in today's day of trade. The stock has bounced up almost 4.5%. Subsequently, the trender indicator, which is a proprietary Bloomberg indicator, that too has been taken out. So do keep in mind, this is as of now. Should it manage to close above the mark of the trender where it is right now, the trender would flip its color from red to green, and every time that has managed to happen, we've seen historically the moves have been very favorable, and right now the stock is placed above the mark of 192.5, which is where the trender is. Should it close above that, we could see more upside for Heidelberg Cement.
Okay, that's the view that's coming in on Heidelberg Cement. Let's ask our guest on the counter. Aditya, what's your sense on Heidelberg?
From current levels, the upside is capped at 200, 195 to 200 and 192. Probably I'll not go long. Either I'll wait for a breakout above 200 and then go long, or wait for a pullback to levels of 185 and then take long.
Okay, what's your sense, Brijesh?
I would definitely look for long. If you look at the weekly chart, this is classic example of breakout, retest, and then bullish momentum continues. So if you can look at the recent momentum, it fell to around 177, 178, retesting the previous highs, which were around 174, 175. So I think yes, 246 the level on the upside. I'm looking on this cement stock.
Okay, and Kkunal, what's your sense?
There's definitely even I'll go for buy. Actually, recently the stock has taken a support of its 200 days moving average, and even stock has been trending with its horizontal trend line, which comes at 180 level. So I think that the stock might give a good bounce back up to the level of 205 and more above it. 210 would be there. So with the SL of 180, one can go for a long for the target of 205, 210.
Okay, that's the view that's coming in on the final counter. Let's just also speak about some buzzing stocks. And BHEL is certainly the one that requires mention. It's up 25% the last time I checked. It's up 26% trading at day's high, and it was on the back of a CNBC Awaaz report that came out indicating that the government is looking to cut stake and privatize the company. So like BPCL rally that we saw, is BHEL that's managed to move up. Kkunal, I'll start with you. BHEL. What should one do now? It's moved up 26%. What should one do now?
Actually, there's we have seen a good upside movement since the morning, and right now there is strong support comes at somewhere around 57 and 58, which is a 100 days moving average. So I think that the profit booking would be there. So my view is like if anyone has a long position, that can go for a profit booking if it touch 57, 58 level.
Okay, that's the view that's coming in. What about you?
I would definitely look for booking profits at around 60. I think previous support which was holding for quite some time around 60, 61 levels has broken now, and I would wait for those levels to take out if the bullish momentum is continuing.
Okay, and Aditya, what's your sense?
If you're getting an opportunity to exit, definitely you should exit from the counter. 58 to 60 is a stiff resistance territory. Good opportunity if it comes to those levels, exit and wait for a correction to get into again.
Okay, that's the view that's coming in on BHEL. With that, it's a wrap on today's edition of Hot Money. Let me thank my guests who have come in today. Aditya, Brijesh, Kkunal, thank you so much for coming in today. Ask BQ comes up next. Stay tuned to BloombergQuint.